Hello and welcome to Monkeynomics 101. In this first class, I want to light a fire under your ass and show you just how easy and obtainable our financial goals really are. The reason so many people are poor is because they don't teach you this stuff in school, for what I believe are political reasons. Poor people are much easier to control than financially independent people. If everyone graduated from high school with the knowledge I'm about to give you over the coming months, we would have a completely different country. I don't want you to feel stupid for not knowing this stuff, though. Nobody is born a good driver, and nobody is born a financial expert. These are skills that take years to acquire, and the people who have these skills are compensated very generously for their knowledge. So let's talk about how obtainable our goal is, and then I'll teach you a bit about the time value of money and the rule of 72. That's all we will cover in this video. This may be basic to some of you, and depending on how experienced of an investor you are, you might not get as much out of these earlier videos as you will the later ones. But I believe that there is no alternative other than to start at the basics. So please bear with me, and even if you don't learn anything new in these earlier videos, I hope that you will at least be able to use them to help other men you know who may be less knowledgeable. So my goal is to help as many MGTOW as possible join the ranks of the 1%. So the first question is, how much does someone need to be considered part of the 1%? According to the website US Global Investors, link in the description, in order to be in the top 1%, you need to have an annual income of at least $521,411 a year, or a little over $500,000. The jobs that pay salaries of $500,000 or more are very limited. According to Financial Samurai, the careers that pay $500,000 or more are politicians, sports coaches, professional athletes, media publishers, media celebrities, professional entertainers, internet and tech startups, and business executives. Probably no surprises on that list, and yet I doubt anyone listening to my YouTube videos will ever achieve any one of those careers. So how can we as MGTOW join the 1% with our regular blue-collar jobs? Through investments, that's how. In order to earn $521,411 a year, we simply need an investment that pays that much in interest each year on average. Now, the US Global Investors article was from a little over a year ago. So let's increase that amount to $530,000, just to keep our numbers round, and this figure is also consistent with the actual inflation data of 2014. Let's assume an average growth rate of 10% a year for our investment. This may sound astronomically high, but I assure you that a 10% average return is very reasonable if you're investing in stocks. So in order to generate $530,000 a year at an interest rate of 10%, we simply multiply by 10 and come up with $5.3 million as our required lump sum. In other words, if we had $5.3 million, earning 10% on average a year, it would generate the required $530,000 each year to qualify us for the status of the top 1%. So, $5.3 million is our goal. Now, let's assume that we use the same numbers from my previous Monkeynomics video, namely an average wage of $50,000 a year, and single living expenses of $15,648 a year. Now in my last video, I didn't account for the progressive income tax and the standard deduction. So rather than just do the rough math, I used the website taxrates.org, which I'll provide a link to. I used New York as my state just to ensure I paid the maximum possible amount of state taxes. So as a single man earning $50,000 a year in New York, I'm paying a combined federal and state tax of $12,037.40, or 24.07% of my gross income, which leaves $37,962.60 left over after taxes. Subtracting the $15,648 from my living expenses leaves me with $22,314.60 left to invest. Let's lower that to $20,000, again just to keep our numbers round. Can you turn $20,000 a year into $5.3 million? And if so, how long will it take? So now TFM is going to teach you about TVM, or the time value of money. You see, there are three things that affect the growth of any investment: the amount being invested, the interest rate, and the amount of time it's allowed to grow. Time is easily the most powerful element that determines growth. But let me demonstrate that using the example of two brothers. Brother A starts investing from the age of 22 until 29, or 8 years. He invests a uniform $5,500 a year, but after 8 years, stops investing and lets the investment grow for another 12 years. He contributed $44,000 in total, and at the end he had $2.1 million. Brother B doesn't start investing until he's 29, the same year his brother stopped investing. He also contributes a uniform $5,500 each year, but instead of contributing for only 8 years, he contributes each year from the age of 29 until the age of 47, the same 12 years the first brother contributed nothing. Brother B contributes over $200,000, more than 4 times as much as his brother, but only made $1.98 million. The difference was the time value of money. The sooner you begin, the sooner the magic of compounding interest goes to work for you. You can actually estimate the magic of compounding interest using something called the rule of 72. Simply divide the interest rate by 72, and the answer is the number of years it will take for the investment to double on its own without any further contributions. For example, let's say you were given $10,000 on your 20th birthday, and you invested it in something earning 10% a year. How much would it be worth when you were 65 without ever adding anything to it? So, 10 goes into 72 7.2 times. So roughly every 7.2 years, the amount will double. Shortly after turning 27, your $10,000 has doubled to $20,000. Since 7.2 goes into 45, which is the number of years between the ages of 20 and 65, the amount will double 6.25 times. So 10,000 to 20,000 is 1 time, 20,000 to 40,000 is 2 times, 40,000 to 80,000 is 3 times, 80,000 to 160,000 is 4 times, 160 to 320,000 is 5 times, 320 to 640,000 is 6 times, and the remaining 25% will bring in an additional $160,000, totaling an estimated $800,000 by age 65. That's the rule of 72. Fun at parties, impress your friends. Now, for a more accurate picture, we have to include the annual payments or contributions throughout the years. Let's assume that we piddled away our 20s as so many men do, and so we don't begin saving and investing until age 30. Let's keep our retirement age at 65, although I believe that the retirement age will be raised to at least 70 soon. Let's just assume it stays at 65, so we'll be investing for 35 years. Rather than calculate the time value of money by hand, I'll link to a retirement calculator from Bloomberg that does it for you. So, investing from age 30 to age 65 at 10% a year with a $20,000 annual contribution will give us $5,420,487.37, which will generate $542,000 a year, putting us in the top 1%. Now, these are inflation-neutral dollars. Obviously, in 30 years, $1 million isn't going to be the same as $1 million today. However, that's built in because we're also assuming that you never make more than $50,000 for the next 30 years either. Inflation causes wages to rise as well as prices. So although $1 million will be worth less in 30 years due to inflation, you will also see your wages rise as well, and you'll be contributing more in actual dollars over the same 30 years, so it will roughly shake out to the same result once adjusted for inflation. If all of that didn't make any sense, don't worry. The point is that you're a multimillionaire, and you're a member of the top 1%, and you made an average income your entire life. You weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth and you didn't win the lottery. You worked an average job and maintained an average standard of living and retired in the top 1%. If it's so easy, why don't more people do this, you might be asking? Well, like I said earlier, most people aren't taught these principles in school, and are instead taught to enjoy their 20s and get into loads of debt, especially student loan debt, because YOLO. The average person parties through their 20s saving nothing and acquiring debt. They often get married in their 30s and go into debt with a mortgage. Their 40s are spent paying off their debts and probably trying to get their kids through college. And then they wake up in their 50s and realize they haven't saved anything for retirement, and they only have 10 or so years to save. And that's why we can't have nice things. The great thing about MGTOW is that it embraces simplicity and minimalism. Now, if minimalism isn't for you in the long run, I ask that you at least try to be as minimalistic as possible while you're young, and put your money to work for you sooner rather than later. Women and other men will make fun of you and think that you're crazy, but we're already used to that, so who cares? When we're multimillionaires and they're dependent on the government, we can all toast to their misery and laugh as we light our cigars with $100 bills. This is very doable, so here's your homework until next week. Start saving now. If you have a 401k at work, get on that shit. If you don't, open an IRA. Make some cuts in your lifestyle today to give yourself a better future tomorrow. You can get into debt pretending to be rich for a few years and be poor the rest of your life. Or you can pretend to be poor for a few years and be rich for the rest of your life. So I hope I've lit a fire under your ass, and next week we'll be talking about debt management and freeing up your income so it can go to work for you. So that's it for this lesson. Let me know if you found this video helpful. Please like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Also share this video with anyone you think it might help, and I'll see you next time.